The fifth industrial revolution is coming. Some are saying it's already here. Many of us are still confused about what AI even is and how it will affect us, our jobs, and our way of life. This short series is meant to demystify AI and separate the hype from the facts. Join two AI founders from opposite sides of the world, Nick from California and Maurice from the Netherlands, to get some answers. Enjoy the episode. Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't notice, I'm an AI voice. Let's join Maurice and Nick now.
So we'll talk about these large language models. They have the ability to take large amounts of data and condense them in and make them usable in different ways. So where you're seeing it do really impressive things, in my opinion, right now, are in places like coding, where it can learn this framework, essentially learn math, and then it's really good at, I'll say regurgitating, but generating code text based on normal word inputs. The other place I've seen some really impressive pieces in the field of biology as well. So mapping out all these protein structures that allow us to make drugs, that allow us to make other mechanisms that can, in their best form, heal cancer, heal diseases that we couldn't heal normally. So again, when you get to play with large amounts of data, these models that we're using and we call AI, these large language models, become really valuable.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think another component where AIs, or like LLMs in general, are really good at is all the creative stuff, like really sort of like serving as a starting point for new creative concepts. So for example, I see it a lot in writing. It's being used a lot. But for me, as a software engineer, everything that's happening in coding with AI right now is mind blowing. And I see people that have zero background in software engineering building applications using AI, like just full on applications with database connections, payment links, just a full setup. I find it very exciting, but I'm also very nervous. I'm curious, like, how do you see that impacting your role as a software engineer as well?
Yeah, so I'm one of those people that does not have a background. I took maybe 2 intro coding classes in my engineering degree, but was never building full stack applications since. And that was, I don't know, 12 years ago. These no code tools for me, I actually just finished coding our new website redesign for our company. Again, this wasn't like with a builder through Wix. This was me using Cursor, AI, and prompting the model. And I'll go in, and it enabled me to feel empowered, feel like I can. Because one of the biggest insecurities I had in the startup world was that I was non-technical. And so I really had to come with those marketing, those business acumen skills, basically do everything else that the developers weren't doing for me to feel valuable in a startup context. And now I'm starting to see that I can add value in different ways, working with some of the other no code tools. I can build kind of UI backends, and it maybe just is easier to then communicate those requirements to our devs. So for me, it's like allowing me to feel a little more empowered. There's a debate that I've been hearing about and thinking about. I'm curious your take, Maurice, is these no code tools, if you just start on the no code, are you then missing out on key coding concepts? And like, one, do you need them? So like, are you screwed down the line if you don't have these? Or is AI going to be good enough where you don't need them?
Yeah, I have a lot of ideas about this, but I think it's already interesting to me that you're at a point where you're doing like a redesign of a website, or you're, just working on coding problems without a coding background. Like that's really amazing. Just the other day, we were actually talking to a potential client, and then the client came back to us and was like, hey, I actually started playing around with Cursor, and you know what? Let's check in a few weeks to see how far I can take this before we start working together. So that's sort of the thing that makes me nervous. But at the same time, it's also really cool. I feel like LLMs provide a new abstraction on top of coding. So traditionally, you have like machine language, sort of like the binary, the zeros and the ones. People used to code in that, which also blows my mind, but that's sort of like not what we do anymore. Now we have all these programming languages. There's a whole bunch of them. And that allowed people to get into coding more easily because it's an abstraction on top of the thing that's really complex. And now we have a new layer of abstraction, which is the English language or Dutch language or whatever. Like these AIs speak basically all of the languages.
Yeah.
And it's just a new layer of abstraction. And I really feel like with how fast this is going and how fast AI is getting better and better at coding, English will really become the new most popular programming language. Like no one is going to be coding in JavaScript, maybe some people, maybe as a hobby or so. But in a few years, I really think we'll just be describing what we want to build, and AI is going to build it for us. But there's also some theories that when AI is getting up to sort of like senior level engineer, that it's just going to create its own language that is like way more efficient and way more expressive in concepts that it wants to develop. So maybe in a few years, JavaScript and Python and all of these languages will be something of the past, and there's a new language that no one can read except for AI, but it's incredibly efficient and incredibly good for building apps and websites and all kinds of applications. That's going to be something that a lot of software engineers, I think, will need to prepare for. Like, that future is coming. Meta is investing a lot in creating, I think they want to create mid-level software engineers by the end of the year through AI. And then basically the benefit of that, of course, is like once you have your sort of like army of AI developers, maybe one of the AI developers learns one thing and it's instantly shared with all of the others. And these AIs, they don't need to go on a holiday. They're never sick. They can work 24/7. They're cheaper. It just makes a lot of sense from a business perspective that this is going to happen, and this is going to happen at scale if the hardware allows for it. But yeah, it's going to be a very new future, I think, for a lot of us software engineers at least.
These guys know the benefits me and my AI cousins bring to humankind. Join Maurice and Nick every 2 weeks as they join forces to demystify AI for the rest of us. Follow them both on LinkedIn in between episodes to keep up with their insights. Links in the comments and the description. See you next time.